Montreal, old Montreal is what was between the fortification walls. Just here on the right, this is our World Trade Center, horizontal, and not a high-rise. That's the World Trade Center of Montreal. That includes a lot of old buildings. And just to your left here, so if you haven't been to Paris, you don't need to go, because right here to the left, there's the, you can see Metropolitan sign. So this is on Square Victoria. You can see Victoria the Queen right there on the left. But then across the street, this is an authentic entrance to the Paris metro station, because they gave it to us when we opened our metro in 1966, as we had consulted them to produce our metro. Yeah. And here you have a very nice, you think this is a hockey player on the left? No, it's a Tai Chi.
It's a what?
From this famous artist, Zhu Ming. So it's a Tai Chi sculpture, a Tai Chi position. I'm not a specialist in that myself, so I would tell you. And in old Montreal, if you come back and you like that. So here we're taking Beaver Hall. So Beaver Hall went all the way from to the end to downtown. So now we're going to see a little section of downtown. And it was called McGill. McGill is the same man who founded the McGill University, but he was a commissioner for the removal of the fortifications. We never used the fortification, not even when we had the English conquest, because the technology was overpassed. And then in early 1900, the left here, they removed the fortification and redesigned the city. Yeah. So here to the right, it's the Canadian Olympic Committee that sits here in the corner. And just here on the right, as we cross, you can see a statue. This is the statue of Frère André, Brother André, who founded the St. Joseph Oratory. You've heard of the St. Joseph Oratory?
Yeah, we were just there.
Oh, you just came from? Okay.
We just been there. We just prayed.
It started in 1904. There was a little chapel.
Because it's American.
Yeah, the St. Joseph Oratory started in 1904, little chapel, then it got, they moved it, and then they did a crypt, and then they did another part and another part. So basically it was constructed all the way to 1950. Yeah. Moved at Place Ville-Marie. So on the right is Place Ville-Marie, and Steve is going to slow down. So Place Ville-Marie is made in the shape of a cross, and when it moved, it was basically put over the train station. So you hear the bing bing. So this means the train station is just under us. On the right, you're going to see the ring. So you've all read Lord of the Rings, right? Here's the ring that unites them all right here. Look above, you're going to see the cross of Mount Royal. Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
Beautiful view. And on the left is the Fairmont, the Queen Elizabeth. So you know the Beatles, eh? The Beatles. So one of them, Yoko Ono and John Lennon, they had their bed-in party here. Yeah, sleeping for a whole week. This is la Basilique Marie-Reine du Monde. This is the Cathedral of Montreal. This is where the bishop is. We have 4 basilica in Montreal. You saw the St. Joseph Oratory. We have this one, Notre Dame Basilica, as well as St. Patrick. No, Celine Dion did not get married here. We'll see the other one later. Or we'll try to. So here, on the left, Place du Canada with McDonald's statue, but he's not there, as you can see. And on the right, Dorchester Square. So on the right, you can see Wilfrid Laurier, just past the bus, just look behind, Wilfrid Laurier statue. We're going to see a view about that. Here in the Sunlight building, big insurance company, you know Sunlight. In the basement, we had an Operation Fish during the war. So in the UK, they sent all the securities, the valuable trading securities, right here. It first came to Nova Scotia. The gold was sent to Ottawa. Securities were sent here, put in the 3rd basement, in a huge vault with the RCMP guarding it 24 hours a day. None of the employees were aware about this. So very important story. So it's a beautiful building, Roman type, big columns, etc. They have all kinds of things here. They have peregrine falcons that sometimes come and nest here. They have a garden, etc. And bees. Yeah, they have bees here. So we have a nice view. Actually, on the right, we have the archevêché, so basically where the bishop lives. And behind is the tallest building of Montreal. It's the Mille de la Gauchetière. You can see a little dome on top. They have 4 domes in that building because they are renting the place from the Archevêché of Montreal. And they had conditions when they rented the place. They had to have a public place. So inside here, and you go to the east, it becomes the road 138, and you go all the way to Natashquan. So just to your left, Inukshuk, right next to the McCord Museum. McCord Museum, the first, not the first, but this was the student union before. And as we get to the light, turn to your right, you are seeing the Rodic Gates. The Rodic Gates with the clocks, these clocks were restored in 2012. The Rodic Gates are the gates to the downtown campus of McGill. It's a memorial monument to Dr. Rodic, who was a dean at McGill, and he's the one who invented over. You'll see right next to it, right now, the Redpath Museum, the first of these rich men. Because people were paying too much tax lands. He was from Hungary, and he was saved by Raoul Wally. It's very nice to go. So this is the oldest Ritz-Carlton, because an older one was in New York. But so everybody was here. They renovated it for I think 200 million. There's a Boulu famous eating place, restaurant, and the Rolling Stones were denied access to the restaurant when they came because they refused to get dressed properly. Yeah, just here, you know, nice pictures of wedding. Montreal, all right? Born in Montreal, raised in Montreal, and he's buried in Montreal. On the left, there's also Museum of Fine Arts. This was done by Moshe Serti, like the Habitat 67. And the one on the right, when we're going to cross the light, that was the first pavilion of the Museum of Fine Arts. Museum of Fine Arts is the oldest arts museum in Canada. Before it was called the Arts Association, founded in 1860, and that been Black Watch Highland Regiment, the oldest Highland Regiment in Canada. And here you have a lot of art galleries. This particular horse on the right, yeah, Conversation it's called, worth $300,000. You can buy it, yeah. And as we cross the light on the right,
So it's on the right.
the city was founded by Maisonneuve and Jeanne Mance. Jeanne Mance was recognized as a co-founder in 2012. And so they formed the Société Notre-Dame. This is the first lay hospital that was made because, after the conquest, the only hospital was the one that Jeanne Mance founded. Also, yeah, for getting learned, you can just come here and you see examples of English architecture all over the city. Our city has a lot of eclectic architecture. High school in Montreal. As we go up, so here we're on Côte des Neiges. Côte des Neiges was used by a lot of indigenous people, First Nations, and then people were sliding on it. This is what we call on the left the Trafalgar Island, so nice apartment buildings done at the turn of the 20th century. One of the only residence that is of Gothic style. Canadian Royal Hussars. So they're a reserve group that have been operational since, and beautiful place to come. So people come, they do picnic. It's as big as I think 270 football fields. So here before you can see all the rocks. There was a tunnel that was made. The tunnel was removed so that the cars could pass because there was a tramway coming to.
So we're looking at the metropolis of Montreal. We are on the mountainside. This is the jumping tours, including myself. Somebody's looking here. So we're having a tour on the mountains. There's the 3 mountains here. That's Adimers. This time I have her. She didn't get lost. She was lost at the St. Joseph Oratory. So yeah, that's a Montreal there. We're looking on the stadium of Montreal. It was where's St. Joseph? Diba yung St. Joseph, malapit lang siya dyan sa ano na yan? Nakikita siya, no? So ayun yung St. Joseph. Ang liit. So small. But actually St. Joseph was, yeah. Yun yung, alam ko malapit lang yung dome yun eh, St. Joseph. Pero parang, anyways, so yeah. We are on top of the hill overlooking the Montreal metropolis.
That's part of the World Trade Center. So if you go there, very interesting. It incorporates a lot of old facades as well as old buildings of Montreal, the same as the Palais du Congrès. Now, you may not know this, but the Palais du Congrès, and they took over the place. And Franklin, when he came, he realized, well, it's Place Beauplain on the right, so Place Jacques-Cartier. This is where you had another castle, the Château Vaudreuil. It was a market. Now it's used for all kinds of events. People come here, and it's the most visited place in old Montreal. So yeah, so just to get back, so Fleury carved. Yeah. So you know,
Must be a special building.
yes, so we're gonna see the Place Royale, and as you look to the right, you will see also the back of some of the buildings in Place d'Armes. So if you look to the right, so this is the old customs house that is there.